And last but not least is Beatriz Acevedo. She comes to us to talk to you about MiTú, which is making a big claim, claiming to be the world's biggest Latino content digital platform. A big claim. We'll hear how it is so from Beatriz herself, the founder and the president. Welcome, Beatriz.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to make a correction. Largest home for Latino content creators, just so our stats are correct. But thank you guys very much for being here today. I'm talking about a very big passion point for me, which is the Latino demographic, not only in the United States, but throughout Latin America as well. So we are MiTú, and I'm sure you guys, whoever doesn't know what MiTú is, are wondering what MiTú is. Funny you ask, we have the perfect slide for that. So MiTú is a new generation media company with digital at its core and with technology at its core. We are home of the largest Latino content creators around the world. We have around 1,300 channels today in our network. We are very excited to give Latino young content creators an opportunity to be entrepreneurial and to grow within our network. This is something very, very unique in our demographic because traditional media today, Latin media is still very controlled by broadcast, where independent producers are not sort of nurtured to be entrepreneurials, to own their content, to control their IP. So at MiTú, we like to say we are that home and that family where we absolutely nurture these content creators to continue to be entrepreneurial, and we help them do that being a part of our network. And we also are a connector of sorts. Somebody was asking me earlier, why do you think MiTú has had so much success? And I really think it is not because we were 20-year-old super smart kids. All founders are in our 40s, unfortunately. But we saw a very big need in the market. You know, you would see content creators who were fantastic, creating incredible content, but couldn't get to an audience. You would see an audience that was very young and very digital, looking for content that they were craving and didn't know where to find it. And then on the other side, you would have brands who really wanted to connect with this audience and also didn't know where was the place that had the critical mass. So MiTú was that sort of connector that put everything under one umbrella, and we made it easy for audiences to find content and for brands to find audiences and content. So this is sort of like why we think we've been so successful just within 2 years. So we are pretty much new kids on the block, barely 2 years old, and we've had very big success. We have currently around 55 million network subscribers. We're getting close to 500 million views a month. This is global. And we have over 22 million hours of monthly engagement. And this is what we just heard before. Engagement is the new currency. And engagement, if we were at Fashion Week, would be the new black. So you definitely need to care about engagement, and we have tons of that at MiTú. We're very, very proud of what we've built. And when you want to take it into a context and you think, what does this mean, right? I mean, I hear other networks that also have billions of views. Where do you fall under everybody else as MiTú and as Hispanics? When you look at the YouTube universe, and I stole this chart from the YouTube people, so I know this is accurate. Thank you very much for sharing it with me. But out of the 20 million monthly uniques that YouTube has only in the United States, MiTú has half of them. So that's definitely a very big claim and something that we're very, very proud to have built. And when you talk about Latin America, out of the 300 million internet users, not only on YouTube, but in every other platform, MiTú has almost a third, 90 million monthly uniques we have on MiTú, and 30 million out of the 90 million come from Mexico. For anybody who's in the room from Mexico, as you know, Mexico is an incredibly hot market. It's a very, very young consumer of digital content. So Mexico is today our largest country, followed by the US, but it's a very big and important country for us. So a lot of people have asked us how we did this. You know, how did you grow so fast? You boot camped this company for the first year. You had the 3 founders being the only employees working. How did you get so big? And I think the most important thing that we've done is leverage the power of social video. We know Latinos tend to share a lot, so already Facebook was very, very big, but we knew adding the video component would make it even bigger. So social video has certainly been very, very big for us. Developing the next generation of Latino stars. That is incredibly important, not only on YouTube, but also there's people on Vine and people on other social platforms. And I think audiences today really want to connect with real people. You know, I think those days of perfectly polished TV hosts with perfect bleached teeth are over. We still have people with perfect teeth on our network, don't get me wrong, in case there's any toothpaste clients here, but we really want people who are real, people who you can identify with, people who you can engage. And those are the type of stars, and we call them the new celebrity at MiTú, and that's definitely built our network like nothing else. And then we distribute our content everywhere. We always like to say we're platform agnostic, or we are the Switzerland of the digital space. We have deals, just like Mashable has with Telemundo. We have deals with our friends at Televisa who are here. We have deals with Univision. We're talking to Telemundo as well. We're at AOL. So we like our content and our brand to live in as many places as possible, because Latinos want their content at any time they want to access it and on any platform that they like to visit. So we like our content to not only live in our owned and operated sites, but we also make it accessible in many other places. So I think that has been a very big key for us. And last but not least, obviously using technology has been incredibly useful at really knowing what does our audience look like? What do they like? What do they crave? What kind of content are they not getting? So using technology definitely makes our life much easier when we're creating content in knowing what is it that they want. So that's definitely a very, very important piece of how we did this. Another big thing that we live today, not only in the United States, in the United States we have all 4 circles that you're seeing behind of me, and in Latin America, 3 out of the 4 are very important. But there's a huge Latino opportunity that we saw and we thought, okay, this is our moment to do it. So as you know, there's a very big exploding demographic of Latinos in this country. That is a no-brainer. There's a lot of Latinos, and who is catering towards them and to these young millennials? They are super consumers, we know that. We love to shop. A lot of them are migrating to web. It's still sort of like a head-scratcher to us to see that networks and cable networks are still being launched for this demographic when you see the data and you see how they consume more on digital than on traditional media, yet for some reason people are still building cable networks for them. It's all good for us. And then the big thing is the Latino content gap. That is something that for many, many years people have thought, you know, as long as Latinos have their soaps and their game shows and their soccer, they're gonna be fine, and we are. I mean, we love all of that content, but obviously we want more. And I'm gonna go into a little detail of each one of them now. So explosive demo, anybody who lives in this country knows Latinos are big. 100% of the population growth is going to be coming from our demographic up until 2020. What does this really mean, right? It means that today in California and in New York, 1 out of every 2 people who are born are Latinos. That's a really big number, right? And in the rest of the country, it's 1 out of every 4. We tend to use this infographic that I don't have it here, but I love, where it shows the death to birth ratio of non-Hispanics and Hispanics. Non-Hispanics, you have a Mr. Smith who dies and 1 cute baby Smith who is born. So 1 to 1, there's absolutely no growth. Within the Hispanic market, you have un Señor Pérez who dies, and then 10 very cute baby Pérezes who are born. And when you multiply that by 10, by 1,000, by 1,000,000, rooms like this usually gasp for air. They're like, no, what am I doing? And it's a very scary thing to see if you don't have a strategy for Latinos. There is no way, whatever it is that you do in this room, if you don't have a strategy for this Latino population in the United States, you will be able to grow your business. So yes, it's scary if you don't have a strategy, and it's incredibly exciting if you have a strategy, because clearly there's a very big, big, big opportunity. So the stereotype that Latinos are poor is clearly not true. We spend over $1.4 trillion a year in the United States. We are big spenders. Unfortunately, we're not big savers, but we are big spenders. So all good news for brands in the room, bad news for our kids' college funds, but that's another story and a different topic. We've talked about how Latinos over-index in anything digital. I like to say Latinos over-index on over-indexing, and this is just talking about digital. For example, we consume more on mobile, we consume more digital content on mobile, we play more video games, we watch more content online. The ratio is around an hour and a half extra than non-Latinos a month. So clearly, we are very plugged into our electronics, and obviously, we saw a very, very, very big opportunity there. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before, and people really thought, I guess, because we can't really explain it in any other way why nobody before MiTú was doing this or trying to get a critical mass for Latinos that was a digital platform. So the perception is that Latinos only like their soaps, their game shows, and their soccer, and we do. Nothing wrong with El Chicharito. I watch the shows with my son. But we certainly want more, no? We want content that makes our lives easier. We want content that is very, very hard to find today on broadcast. It's hard to find on broadcast in Spanish language, and it's very hard to find in broadcast or cable in English that's culturally relevant. You can certainly find it for the general market, but it will be very, very hard for you to find something about how to raise a bilingual child, or how to make 5-minute tamales in the blender, or anything that's just close to what your culture is and makes your life easier. And I think that's where MiTú came in and sort of made content very accessible to all these audiences, not only in the United States, but in Latin America, and was able to make a very big difference. So that's the content gap. And finally, obviously, since this panel was about to talk about how we reach millennials through our brands, I think just, we talked about this before, but using these Latino superstars has been incredibly useful for us. These are people who are followed by millions of loyal viewers and subscribers, and that certainly helps us a lot. Creating culturally relevant content, which is what I was talking about in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese. We also have MiTú Brazil, has been definitely game-changing for us, especially in the United States with young demos. Creating English language content, but that still speaks to their culture is a very, very big win. We hear from brands all the time, we want to reach a very young audience, but we want to do it in Spanish, and we say, well, if you want to do that, you need to do it in English, but that's just sort of like an education process. And also, we have been able to create a hub that has critical mass. So we're very excited about what we're building. People are paying a lot of attention to our demo. We're very, very excited. And that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beatriz. Thank you.